they are doing this incredible.
Well, there's a myriad of things. I think first of all, we have to go back to the writer you are very well known for. She feels your students speak a whole lot about you.
Miss Nigeria communication.
I said, let's pick them up, let's take them back to Nigeria, and let's teach them a different kind of job.
Hello, nice to have you join me again on today's edition of The Woman. My name is Elizabeth. Now, I want to, take you a little bit to something that you may not like, but at the end of the day, you will find yourself delighted because you'll be having someone express something real good. Now, what am I talking about? It's cancer.
I don't think in gender boxes at all. I just get on with it.
A man that would dare to ask the wife, who do you think you are? That is a real man.
In fact, our husband are our firstborn. The husband needs more attention than even the children.
And yes, we need to have more women, more multitaskers around Nigeria to get Nigeria working. Definitely.
I'm sure you're looking forward to who my guest today is. Her name is Chioma Ikejiani. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me again.
And Chioma Ikejiani is the CEO of a whole lot of things put together, from Amoy, just Amoy, to Amoy Unplugged. What's Amoy Unplugged? Tell me.
Amoy Unplugged is a show that I wanted to bring to Nigeria, and it really looks at economic diversification in government. So I believe that Nigeria has amazing resources, and whichever government is in there always tries to diversify its economy. So part of surviving cancer, my mandate is to show the global world that we are going to diversify. And so I profile the government's foot soldiers that are doing exactly that, whether it's solid mineral or whether it's agriculture. That's what Amoy Unplugged does. It brings the stakeholders that are diversifying the government's economy. So that's what we try to do. And we show Nigerians that we're just more than oil.
I'm not going to tell Nigerians what happened. She never planned with this, It was started right on this chair.
That's true. Actually, you're absolutely right. Sitting here gave me the inspiration to actually do this television show. So I want to thank you.
Thank you so much too for recognizing that, and then of course to NTO management entirely for pushing that fire in you. And I see something quite different.
What do you
Chioma is 56 years old as we speak.
Oh my God! You let the cat out of the bag.
56 years old, and you won't believe it. Chioma is a survivor of cancer, breast cancer precisely, stage 4, if you know what that means. Now tell me, it is assumed that female breast cancer is a major global public health problem, estimated, to have killed over 1 million plus people, 1,300,000 and something people. That's quite a huge number. How did you maneuver? First of all, how did the news break up for you?
Now, let me take you back to how my life completely changed. So I get to Nigeria in 2014, and I'm working, and I'm having an amazing time. And in 2016, I get a call from my doctor in Canada. So I'm a Canadian citizen, and I'm one of those people that came back to Nigeria. And my doctor said to me, you got to get a mammogram because you did it 2 years ago. So back then, I was doing a mammogram checkup every 2 years, compulsory once you hit the 40-year age in Nigeria, in Canada. So
no, I need you to hit that again. Once you're 40, it's compulsory. You just have to do your mammogram every 2 years.
Every household gets a letter from the government, right? That you have to go and get a mammogram. So it's systematic, which is really important, and we're going to talk about that later. So I get this phone call because in 2014 I did it. So in 2016, I said, where am I going to do this? And a friend tells me about Turkish hospital by Life Camp. And I go to the hospital and I said, oh yeah, this is great. It's just a normal routine. As a matter of fact, I said, I'm going to do a whole physical. So part of the physical is doing a mammogram, and I remember this as it was yesterday. I walked into the room, and here's the funny thing. The nurse that was telling me says that she doesn't like to walk past the room because she feels that she's just automatically going to get cancer, right? So I said to her, you're here, you should do a mammogram, right? You should do a mammogram.
And the nurse was actually scared.
The nurse was afraid to go past the room that does the mammogram. So the other nurse that was in there, does the whole self-examination. She says there's a lump, and get this. I said, oh yeah, I actually felt the lump a while ago, but I didn't know what it was. Now remember, I'm exposed. I'm educated, and I didn't do anything about the lump. I just didn't know what it was, right? So they said, oh, you know what? Let's just do the mammogram and we'll take it up to the doctor. The doctor calls me and says, you know what? We've got to do a biopsy. And I said, oh, what's a biopsy? Well, we're going to have to go in and take a fluid and send it to the lab to see whether it's malignant. And I said, oh my God, I didn't even think it was serious. So they did the biopsy. The first report was benign. And I said, oh, thank God. But my doctor, the Turkish medical doctor, said to me, no, you're feeling pains inside your underarm. And I said, yeah, but I thought that it's always when I start my period. Maybe it's hormonal because I'm in my 50s. So maybe, because after my period, the pain subsides. So I said, oh, no, that's nothing. Sometimes I get pain. He said, no.
So we shouldn't really ignore such pains,
These are signs. So my lymph nodes were affected. So he said, Chioma, I'm going to do the biopsy myself. So I have to go back again. And he did the biopsy, and it came out malignant. 2 weeks later. And I said, oh my God, what do we do? I said, you got to take the lump out. And I just wanted it out of my body. So he was so amazed. And I said, no, you have to take it out. So we scheduled surgery about a couple of days later. And I remember going in, and I'm going to actually show you the pictures of doing the surgery. And they sent it out to the lab, and finally it came back, and it was HER2 positive for cancer. And that was when my life changed. And I really didn't see
Please, what does that mean in English?
HER2 positive. It means that I have the kind of cancer that is protein based, and it has this receptors. It basically means that I produce too much estrogen. So once I produce these phenomenal estrogens, it multiplies and it's out of control, and that's what really grows the tumors. So he said to me, you have a couple of options, right? I didn't know whether I was stage 1, 2, 3, or 4. And he said to me, we've taken the lump out, but you've got to do either chemo or radiation, or chemo and radiation. But he said, you know what, you're probably going to have to go back to Canada to do that. So I still did not panic, because I thought the most important thing is to get the lump out of my body. So I called my doctor, and I said, oh, by the way.
Your doctor in Canada now?
Yes,
okay.
Yes, Allison Turk. And I said, Allison, by the way, I did the mammogram, and I have cancer, but we took out the lump, because I thought that's what I had to do. She remained calm. She said, Chioma, you need to get on the plane and come home, because we have a lot of work to do. And my doctor says, well, we've done a lot of checks. We've done the MRI on you, and we've done a CT scan, and it's all over your body. And I said, oh my God, what do you mean? It's gone from my primary breast to my chest wall. From my chest wall, it's gone to my liver. From my liver, it's gone to my lungs. So you are stage 4. It's metastasized. And we don't even know whether...
Stage 4 is supposed to be the final stage?
That's the final. So when you get to stage 4, 20 years ago, you're just waiting to die, because there were no other drugs.
That's the stage where they move you in for counseling or something?
Palliative care.
Preparing you for death?
Yeah. So when he said to me, Chioma, you need to go home, and you need to do your will. You need to make preparations.
Will, as in prepare for your own death?
Yes. You need to make your preparations. This is in 2016, because we don't know if we can fix this. There's no cure for stage 4. It has actually gone too far. That's when I came home and I did what I do best, which is whenever I get hit with adversity, I embrace it. So I took this cancer as a project because I'm not ready to die. So what did I do? I cleared everything out of my way. But the most important thing was to mentally prepare to do battle with this thing that came into my body that I had to beat. So I came back, and for the very first time I was so happy because I didn't have to work. I had worked for so many years and it was like a vacation.
I remember your magazine.
Yes. So I had to give up the magazine. So I sold the magazine, the rights to my magazine, and I kept the name. And I had to get my house in order. So once I did those things, I now became a cancer patient at the Princess Margaret Hospital. So the first thing I had to do was I had to take chemotherapy, and everybody scared me.
You didn't lose your hair because...
I did. I lost everything, but my hair grew back. I had my eyelashes. I lost...
The hair doesn't look that receded.
No, not at all.
It grew back on its own?
It grew back on its own, right? I keep saying, oh, thank you, thank God. So what I did was, instead of shying away and hiding the fact that I was a cancer patient, I decided to look at myself in the mirror. And I said, you know what? Just because this thing invaded your body does not make you a bad person. It is not your fault.
Exactly.
It is one of those things that happen in our lives. You know what my doctor told me? My doctor told me that it's an old age disease. 1 in 3 women in Canada will have cancer.
All right, so I'll take a pause on that. We'll be right back. The program is The Woman, just in case you're forgetting. But this is a special package because we're hitting cancer real hard. When we come back, we're going to find out those little things that may look little, but they actually add on to your life. she's still the woman, and we started a discussion. Actually, somebody is seated. She's still here, giving us insight of what happened. Now, I'm going to be asking you a question that I'm sure a lot of Nigerians want to hear. What did you do? Because a lot of people may have done what you did, and they still didn't make it. What was yours? What was it about your own that was a bit different? Why are you still, up and about after stage 4 of cancer?
Well, I think the first thing I did was I was supposed to do 4 cycles. I did 8 cycles.
What does that mean?
8 cycles means that doing chemotherapy, I took Herceptin, I took Projecta, and I took Taxotere. Luckily for me, I did not have any adverse side effects, so I could take the cycle. So I doubled my cycles. The more, the better for me, right? So that was the first thing. Now, during my cycle, I ate the right food. So I ate a lot of food that were high in antioxidants, like I did strawberries, blueberries, things that we take for granted. I drank a lot of moringa, leaves. Nigeria has so many things.
Oh, we're beautiful.
Shower shop. I ate a lot of fruits. And then I decided to really take up exercise because I was doing it before.
Yeah, I recall, because even this morning when I was calling, please, when I come to studio, they said, I'm on a treadmill, blah, blah, blah. Okay, it's okay.
Yeah, because I want to live my best life. I really do. I want to look right. And so it's hard work, because to get up early and to work out is a commitment, but it's not a commitment to anybody, it's a commitment to me.
To you.
So food, exercise, and I listened and I took instructions from my oncologist. Sometimes we don't do that. So even though my results were amazing, because my cancer tumors came from 13 to 5.
I heard you were among the 30 people out of millions that survived cancer worldwide.
So what happened was, when I kept on coming back from Nigeria, once they told me I could go back to Nigeria, I ran. And I think that's one of the things that kept me alive, knowing that I would come back to my country. It's so amazing. So when I went back to do my checkup, they couldn't believe it, because the cancer had completely gone. I am what you call no evidence of disease, NED. So there's no evidence of the disease. And what I'm completely in remission, which means that when they look at me, I just read my report again last night, there's nothing there. They can't see anything. So I didn't do radiation because the doctor says there's nothing there to radiate. And get this, one of the things that I thought they would do is that they would cut off my boobs.
Aww.
I was happy. Oh my God, because I wanted new boobs. Oh my God, could you imagine?
You wanted to lose your...
At 50, I know he's looking at me. At 56, right? It's going south. So when I heard that, oh my God, one of the things that the government does is that you can get new boobs. I started to draw my boobs, and then when my doctor said to me,
they didn't need to cut it.
We're not cutting anything. I went, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? How can you do that?
You remind me of some people who have diarrhea. They're like, okay, I'm happy I'm losing some weight.
Yes.
Diarrhea.
Yes, I said, are you kidding? So they assigned me to a breast doctor, Jennifer Croker. So every time I go back to Canada, I see Jennifer. I go, Jennifer's can I cut this? Anything? She goes, are you crazy? There's nothing there. So self-examination is also very important. So I do that. So I think these are some of the things that I did. And having a positive mind, there actually is a correlation of living longer and beating cancer when you have a positive outlook in life. So instead of feeling sorry for myself, I'm glad I had cancer. Because guess what? I appreciate life so much. So it gave me my priorities. And then when I came back to Nigeria, I said, you know what? I have got to do something that's going to be a legacy project. And I was really amazed and humbled that the government wanted to work with me, and so it made me want to live longer.
Are the drugs really available here in Nigeria?
And that's a great question. So one of the things that I had to do was to convince the board of directors at the Princess Margaret Hospital that I needed to come home. And they said, and my oncologist was really against it. He said, Chioma, we've worked so hard. I mean, you're like a miracle. We've looked after you. We've given you drugs. You're in remission. Why do you want to go back to Nigeria? And I said, because I love Nigeria. And luckily, National Hospital had drugs. And they're very good. They make sure that I have the drugs. So I have a whole team that I work with to keep me where I am, to make sure that I'm working and living my best life.
It's beautiful knowing that we can actually get this thing done here and have access to good drugs. Now, I speak of that because I know a lot of women are scared. Yeah. Having been through there, I need you to speak on the fact that a lot of us would rather hide. You know, when I mentioned your situation, some people really wanted to reach out to you because some, mostly women, they didn't want their husbands to know. Have you had such experiences?
I'm going to tell you what happened at Turkish Hospital at Life Camp in Abuja. The doctor said to me that I'm probably one of the lucky people that came to them in time, because most of the women that come to the Turkish hospital, it's not a money thing, right? Cancer does not respect anybody. So the women that came to him, even though they had the money, by the time they came, the breasts are hardened. There is sometimes pus coming out from the nipples. It means that it has become malignant and infected, and it's too late. So what the doctor will now do is to give them a little bit of pain to ease the pain and just wait for them to die, because there's nothing for them to do. So I realized that they don't want to tell anybody. They're hiding the fact that they have cancer. And it's so ironic because when I was at Turkish hospital, I would tell everybody that I meet. If I was going for a walk, I would say, do you know that I survived cancer? Oh my God. And people would be looking at me because it's freedom, because I've been given a second chance. So there are many Nigerian women who it's a very lonely, isolated message when they hear that word. Cancer is almost death. And there's another set of women who, when they feel that there's something wrong, they'll go to church. And I think having faith, because faith did help me. And for the very first time, I embraced my religion. I embraced my Bible, and it helped me. But it's not good. Is it going to cure me? I think it has to be a combination of spiritual and medicine. And that's what worked for me. But for so many people, by the time they do too much of the spiritual, by the time you now take advantage of the medical, there's only so much medicine can do. So it's a combination. And the other thing too is I think there's an awareness issue. We've got to get the message out there. We have to get the message out there.
Which is why we're sitting here and getting the message out there for everyone. Like you said, God created the doctor, God created the pastor as well, God created the man. So all of us, just like the fingers are different, we have different roles to play. We must put hands together to ensure we find out what you eat. Don't wait till you get to stage 1, stage 2, stage 4 before you begin to take your antioxidants and the fruits and all that. Get them done now. Don't wait until you're sick before you begin to exercise. I'm not clear on that. I like exercise, by the way. So maybe we'll get to work out together one of these days. All right, thank you so much for coming on the show again. My pleasure, really. And I always will look at you as a miracle, so to speak. Alright, see you again next time. The program is The Woman. Don't forget, we bring you the spice of a woman. Things that happen, you may never know it, but you see it right on the studio.